Welcome to this bonus episode of JFDI with the two Lauras. We're usually here every Tuesday sharing tips, advice and inspiration to help you to build your business, but today's episode is slightly different. This week, Meta made a big announcement about new pricing options with new benefits for Meta Verified. And this is one of the biggest changes that they've made in literally years. And we know that you're going to have questions. So you'll have to excuse us because this episode is totally unedited. It's not our usual style, but we wanted to get this out to you as quickly as we possibly could so that you know the score of what's going on and you can help your clients to navigate these new options too. As always, we would love to hear from you and chat about this more. So dive into our community by going to the Social Managers Hub or drop us a DM on Instagram at the end of the show. And if you do enjoy the podcast, we would be so grateful if you would take 2 minutes to leave us a review wherever you are listening. The reviews tell the podcast platforms to share the show with more people, so they're really helpful to us. And they always make us smile when we read them. So we're really grateful when you do rate and review the show. But without further ado, let's just get into it. And let's start by talking about what these changes are. Over to you, Laura Davis.
In a one-liner, it's pay to play, isn't it?
See, it's interesting because I think as we go through this episode, we might change our minds on that. Having done quite a lot of research on it, maybe I can change your mind on that. We'll see.
Well, I'm not against it. No, I
don't mean that. I mean, I just think you might think that actually it's not pay to play. We'll see.
Well, yeah, okay. We will see. But that's certainly the perception of other people.
Yeah.
That I'm going to have to pay.
And that was my initial thought. When I very first read it, I thought, that's it. This is pay to play. It's finally come. But having done quite a bit of research for this episode, my opinion has changed slightly on that. But we'll get into it.
So basically, Meta is giving you a sliding scale of different monetary values. And the more you pay, the more you get.
Yeah.
With the top rate, you get Meta support.
I mean, that's laughable in itself.
For many of us who have been around a long time, maybe particularly if you've ads managers, because more likely to get on Meta support, or maybe if you're Meta verified and have tried to use the Meta support that apparently comes with that, you'll understand why we find that quite comical. I certainly don't think it's worth paying for. But do we want to go into those in a bit more detail?
Yeah, well, let's not go into like every single thing because you can go and have a look and see exactly what this involves, and we'll put the link in the show notes so you can go and have a look. But basically, like you just said, the more you pay, the more you get, and it's kind of in addition to what you would already get on the existing verified plan, which we have. Our Instagram account is verified. Probably doesn't really help us very much, but we all like a little blue tick, don't we? So the lowest tier, like that's kind of up from what we're all used to, is currently $44 a month. And it's really important to say that this is not available in all regions yet. Okay. So depending on where you are, you may not even have this. So the lowest next price tier is $44 a month, which has additional features. And one of those additional features, which we're going to talk about, is that you get 2 links in Reels per month. Woo-hoo. But the most expensive tier, which I think was around $300, something like that, you get 6 links in your Reels.
Oh my God.
Hold the phones. But you also get the enhanced support, in inverted commas.
Sign me up.
I know. And that's like in a direct chat bot, but also phone calls with someone from Meta. I know. That's what we all really want. It's not like we're sitting here trying to get them off the phone already when we don't want to talk to them. But yeah, let's pay for it. And yeah, in my opinion, that seems totally pointless. But like I said, it's not available in all areas yet, and it's not currently clear if it will be. It's not clear if this is a test that they're testing in areas or if this is something that will be rolled out to everywhere. So
it's interesting because normally when they're testing something, it will be said they're testing this, they're rolling this out. So it's interesting that messaging hasn't been said, or that maybe we've just not seen it. But
it's also interesting, isn't it? And it may be that I've missed it, that I haven't seen anything come directly from Zook or Moza about these things yet.
No, because
I've only seen the links being shared from other people.
Yeah,
and usually
they're probably dangling the carrot.
Yeah, but if they're excited about something, usually they will talk about it really quite openly and do reels and stuff, which I haven't seen, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think they'll have purposely done it this way because they're reading the room, they're looking at the reaction, maybe. And then when they go out with his jumper on to do his Instagram live, he'll be able to answer the questions that people are having.
But I think the interesting thing is people are having questions because they haven't done that. because people are making assumptions, which we'll come on to. But before we do that, I think it's interesting to talk about why they might have done this. And my opinions of why they've done this is because this is the biggest change that we've seen from a monetization perspective of Meta since they rolled out ads back in the dark ages. Yeah, whenever that was. And it's interesting to see that maybe this is another way of monetizing the platform, maybe because there's no more places that they can put ads. Obviously, they're going to be putting them on Threads soon. But other than that, where else could they possibly monetize the platforms? And this is a good way maybe for them to do that. And the other thing is that people have constantly been complaining about reach and how can they get more reach? And maybe this is a way to stop them from having those complaints, because it could be like, well, you could have more reach if you pay for it, which they could already say with ads. But I actually don't think this is going to give you more reach, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think that might be another reason. Like, I'm not being funny, but if it was my business and people kept moaning about how crap it was, I'd be like, well, pay me and I'll make it better. Do you know what I mean? It's free.
And I wonder whether this is why I don't really... Like, we were just talking about this before we started recording. Like, I've not seen as much talk about this, and what I have seen is fairly... people see pros and cons, but they're fairly well measured in how their thoughts on it. I've not seen any hysteria, and Laura's oh my God, that's all I've seen. So I'm like, okay, we're not hanging out on the same places on the internet. And I just think at the end of the day, I think people forget all the time that pre-Instagram, pre-social media, you had to pay to advertise your business, whether it be a billboard, local paper, the only
paying someone to put leaflets through the door,
printing of those leaflets, everything, that every way to market your business, apart from word of mouth. I can't think of anything else you would have had to have paid for. And then roll out social media, and it gave businesses a free platform to market their business, to reach not one or two new potential customers, thousands, millions. And no one seems to have much gratitude for that. Everyone just has where's my reach gone? I can now only reach 50 people, not 100 people. And it's like, well, and it's free. It's
like you're not entitled to it.
Yeah. And I kind of think... good on them. They're thinking of different ways to monetize their business, as we all are, as we are in our business, as you are as freelancers, thinking, how can I monetize my business in different ways? This is exactly what they're doing. And not everyone is going to like it, but you don't have to do it. Yeah. And I remember when, and it does show my age and how long I've been in the game for, I remember when Instagram ads rolled out. I really, really remember it. And I don't know whether that's why I've kind of just switched off to it, because it's just the same kind of, oh God, we're not going to be able to, no one's going to see our content. Might as well give up now. Might as well go on LinkedIn. It's all that
There's ads on LinkedIn, by the way.
I know, yeah, this will come. They all copy each other, don't they? We all know this is the way it's going to go. And I just kind of think we just have to accept this is what it is. But if we carry on just doing a good job and creating good content, and then we can just take advantage of what we can take advantage for free. And that we should all be grateful for. And people might hate me for saying that, but I just think we just need to kind of remember this is just free advertising that some of us who are old enough to remember didn't have pre-social media.
Totally. Yeah, I totally agree. I agree. And I think, based on what you just said, people will be like, oh, this is going to kill Instagram. My marketing's going to die. I can never use the platform again. Can we just, all just rein it back a little bit? And I know you're not seeing content like that, but the hysteria I'm seeing...
Oh, I can imagine,
is just unbelievable. And I think people need to remember that Instagram is not going anywhere. They make these decisions based on research. They don't just think, oh, I'm going to quickly go and do this thing. I mean, you could argue with that with the state of the current story stickers, but clearly there was not much thought that went into that. But with this, I think there have been a lot of thought that's gone into this. And we need to remember that, we are kind of baked into these platforms now.
We're addicted.
People are not going to leave them because of this. We're addicted from a consumption perspective, but we're also really tied into them from a business perspective. If you think about all the tools that we use in our business that are not social media, like the tools that we're using to record this podcast, for instance, the tools we use to get it into your ears, we're baked into those. We wouldn't leave them because they might put their prices up Don't tell them that. Because it takes too long and it's too hard to unpick everything. And so you just have to get used to a new normal rather than thinking, I have to unpick this and start again. Just get used to that new normal. You're marketers, you can pivot really easily and, just go with it. But I think it's also interesting to talk about whether we think people actually will even use it. Because I personally don't know if they will. Like when Meta Verified first came out, loads of people got the blue ticks, didn't they? And they were all like paying for them and what have you. And slowly they were like, this is not helping me. And they were cancelling them and stuff. And at these price points, the brands who can afford to pay these prices probably don't need to because they're well known, or they don't need to because they're already spending money on ads.
Yeah,
and there's no additional benefit in my...
Exactly. Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. I just think the only people who would be able to justify $300 or whatever it is a month, I just can't see why they would.
No.
They should. They'll have enough brand presence already.
Yeah.
Like if they're big enough, like Wendy's and what have you, and Aldi, they're not going to suddenly be paying £300. They'll be paying enough.
They'll have their reps anyway.
Yeah, they'll have their ad reps, so they don't need that. I'd be fascinated. It will just be the 7-figure wanker people who were like, yeah, I'm paying because they think it gives them some kind of kudos, whereas really it will just be giving people, oh look, there's a tit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what else I thought about though that I thought was quite interesting is the way that this is kind of pitched on their website is that it's for business accounts. It's not currently like pitched for creators. So will creators think, oh, there's benefit in this, I need to become a business account and maybe pay for that, and they want people to be creators because that's what keeps people on the platform, then are business accounts who don't pay for this going to be penalised? Do you know what I mean? It's just very grey.
Yeah, it is very grey, but I think they misunderstand what business owners want. Like, does anyone want 6 links in Reels each month? No. We don't even do 6 Reels a month.
But it's interesting as well, isn't it? Because Moza, in his Cardi, was recently like all over everywhere saying about how they're going to give more reach to creators, to small creators. And this question came up in the Inner Hub recently. Like, does he mean people who have a creator account or people who create content? Because businesses are creating content. So are you a creator or are you a business? It's confusing because if he's talking about everyone, all small accounts, then where's the benefit in paying for this?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just confusing messaging.
It's very confusing messaging off the back of that was recently. Week, 2 weeks
last week,
ago?
Probably,
it wasn't long that he was saying, oh, we're going to push these small creators, and it is it's an interesting, when you start
interesting time to be alive. Okay, that was dramatic.
What a time to be alive. What was I going to say then? You threw me off then.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Stick around. It'll be great, I'm sure.
Yeah, it will come back to me. It will be
Okay, well, let's then, whilst you're thinking, switch to whether or not we think that this might, is there actually any use in this? Because on the face of it, and when I very first looked at the site yesterday and I just kind of read the headlines, I thought, oh, this is brilliant. You're going to get links in Reels, brilliant. You're going to get more support, brilliant. You're going to get these customised messaging chats, brilliant. And then I looked
I didn't think brilliant to any of it.
What? Just like what?
I was really disappointed. I tell you what, they need to come and do our social proof course and learn about how to create an irresistible offer, because I just was like, what? Is that it? Is that it? Like that? And I just closed the page. I just thought it's of no interest to me whatsoever. Like there was nothing appealing,
isn't it? Is that a lot of people who I'm seeing in my feeds are reading it in a very different way, because they're reading it that it is useful and that they are, if they pay, going to get more reach. But they haven't said that. No, exactly. And that's why at the beginning of this podcast, I said I don't think it's pay to play, because I don't think it is, because they're saying that you, on some of the highest tiers, you will get like a featured account. So your account will be featured in the news feeds of people. Does that mean that your account will be featured? Like it will be like, go follow the 2 Lauras? Or does that mean that one of our posts will be featured and somebody might see our content? The two things are very, very different.
And we all get, when something new happens, so say like I see in my feed a featured post or a featured profile, whatever it is, I might be like, oh wow, because it's different. It grabs my attention because it's new, and I may go and click on it. But roll on 12 months time when my feed is full of featured and they're all crap and they're not relevant, and if it's a post, the post is shit and it's not appealing to me, it will have no impact, because people change the way they use social media, don't they, all the time, and this will just become something they scroll past, in my opinion. Unless it's done really well.
If they were featuring a piece of content in the news feed but not highlighting it as being featured, for example, but it just happens to show up higher, and it's a piece of content and it's relevant because the algorithms decided that you should see it and it's featured, that kind of makes sense. But if it's just the account and it says on it featured account or whatever, like, that doesn't make sense to me. If I was to see some random account in my feed, I'm not going to go and look to see who they are or what they're doing. Well, it's the content that would draw me in.
And also back to if it's a post that they feature, that's only going to work if it's a good post.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me, is that businesses that can afford it, like chuck 300 quid, 50 quid, whatever it is, they have a featured post and they think that's the answer to their problem. But that post will still need to be optimised. It still needs to speak to the right people. It still needs to be structured correctly. It still needs to be easy to consume. It still needs to catch the eye. You know, there's all these things that people...
And I don't think it is going to be post, because if I'm looking on the site now and it says featured account, get featured in feed and introduce your business to new audiences. So to me, that makes me think they're going to feature like a profile.
I don't know with that. I think they'll feature as in they'll show a piece of content, rank it higher. We don't know, do we? So we can't.
We don't know.
You know.
It's interesting. But let's talk about these, like this whole links in the Reels thing. I just find it bizarre. Like, the more you pay, the more links you can have per month. The maximum being 6 links per month. I'm not being funny, but how organised do you need to be to think, hang on a minute, how many links have I got left that I can use this month? Shit, I've used 3. That means I've got another 3, but I've got 10 more reels going out. Oh, which one am I going to use it on? And then your client's like, can you put a link on this one? You're like, oh, but I've only got 2 left and I really need them for that. I'm like, no, I don't need that hassle. I'm getting a headache thinking about it. It just seems stressful. Like, what? I don't understand why they're giving you a specific amount of links. Either give us links or don't give us links.
And why just reels?
How many we've got left?
Why just reels as well? That's what I don't understand. Obviously, they still want to encourage people to consume and therefore create reels. But
why?
But what?
It's weird. And what will those links look like? Will there be a link sticker on the reel? Will it be a link in the caption? Will it look like ads do?
Oh, well, I'd assume it would just look like ads.
So then where's the benefit? Because people will think that it's an ad and they probably won't click the link. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, I might as well pay for ads, because then at least my reel is being shown to the people that I want it to be shown to with that link.
Yeah.
It's so confusing, isn't it?
And I think, we all know that just shoving a link in a post doesn't automatically make someone click it. You have to create content for someone to click. Like, it's very different. If and we talk about this a lot, and you can't just say, oh, I'm going to create some content today. Oh, I'm going to whack a link in it. Like, I've got a link left, I'm going to chuck the link in this. It doesn't work like this. Your copy has to be written to keep people, and to want people to click the link. They've got to be enticing. You've got to give people a reason to click the link, and
then you're going to need to be really organised and make sure you're using different UTMs on those links, so you can actually track whether it's
working.
Links are working.
Because of course they won't probably give us any analytics.
No, because you're going to want to know if it's worth spending that money to get those clickable links.
100%. It'd be way easier just to stick with your ManyChat.
Yeah, or just run some ads.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do not see that as an appealing offer. 6 links.
No, well, can we just talk about an even less appealing offer? Message customization, which, like, as a headline, oh, that sounds great. What am I going to be able to do? You can change the colour of the background. Yeah, all right, I'll pay 300 quid for that. What is the point of that? You can change the colour of the background of the messages you're sending to customise it, which we can already do anyway. Unless they just haven't explained it well on their website. It says customised chat themes. And then they show a photo of the colours that you can choose from in the messenger. What is the point?
Is that in the $45 or the $300?
I think it was in all of them.
Oh, well, that's 100% worth it, isn't it?
Sold? Yeah.
But
Let's
can't
have
you,
two.
you can change the chat themes.
Yeah. Although I don't know if you can do it on a business account. I've never tried on ours because it's pointless.
Yeah, well, we did it, and I've got a business account, haven't I?
I don't know. Anyway.
I think you can. Anyway, we digress.
Totally pointless.
But that's so generous of them.
I know, thanks. I can have pink instead of white. Yeah, let me pay you. And then, as we've already said, the support, the more you pay, the more support you get, which again, we already know is rubbish. But interestingly, that's not even available if you're in the USA or the UK.
Oh.
So that doesn't make sense to me either.
What, so we can still pay the £300?
I don't know
the
if we can pay it in our area yet, but the people in the US can pay that for sure.
But they can't get
get the additional support. And this is the support I'm talking about at the moment. Sorry, I should have made it clear. Is the account reviews. You get 2 account reviews per year, but you can't get them in if you're in the UK or the USA.
So you get like a Meta Pro ringing you up, going, "Hi, it's your Meta Pro," which changes every 3 weeks, and they ring you to introduce themselves.
I
and they
think
say,
you should do more reels.
Yeah.
No shit, Sherlock.
Thanks. Oh my god.
Yeah. So you're going to get support from somebody who works at Meta, which on the face of it sounds great, but let's be honest, they're a customer support person. They are not a marketer. They probably don't know how most of the features work on the platforms they're advising about. They've never created business-related marketing content, and their job
12.
is just to get you to use the platform.
Yeah.
So let's not pay for that.
The worst thing of that is that we're going to have more people creating content going, "I just got off the phone to Meta.
Oh, God.
And they've told me," type of crap content.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think we see enough of that as it is. Anyway, right, so let's talk then about what this actually means for you as a social media manager. And I think I just want to start by saying, depending on where you are in the world right now, it might not mean anything because it might not be available in your area. So you don't need to worry about it.
But I wonder whether if it's not available in your area, as in you can't subscribe to it, but can you see, will you be able to see the links in the reels?
Ah, interesting. Yeah,
or will you be able to see the featured accounts?
That is interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know a lot.
Well, let us know if you are in a region that doesn't have this and you are seeing links in reels. Let us know. Drop into our DMs at the Two Lauras on it.
But then obviously if they do end up just looking like ads, then maybe we'll never know.
No, that's true. Yeah, very true. So yeah, it might not mean anything to you right now, but if you are in an area where it does mean something, and maybe for the future, if it is coming to your area, then this will be useful. And I think one of the things that, and you've kind of touched on this already, is that your strategy needs to be really, really good. But that's a given. It should be really, really good anyway. The content should be brilliant anyway. But if the featured accounts kind of benefit is featuring content, not just an account, then your strategy needs to be really good whether you're paying for it or not. If you're not paying for it, you need your content to stand out against those who are. If you are paying for it, then your content needs to be really good because you're paying for it. Which
is no different to where we are now. You know, if you're paying for ads, you're paying for ads. If you're not paying for ads, you're not paying for ads. And so you create content that, like, we've all got into the groove now with some people just doing organic, some people doing organic and paid, some people just doing paid, and we just forget that this was the same, as I say, this was the same conversation 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And you just need to create good content.
Yeah.
Regardless, like, that should be everybody's priority.
Yeah. Good content will win regardless of where it is, what anyone else is doing.
And I think it's really important to say, and again, I feel like this is slightly controversial. Well, it's not controversial, but some people might think it is. In that, your content can be great, and then 6 months later, that same content can be really, really shit. Like, we all have to adapt and move and change. And I just have to.
Egos.
I have to. Like, just leave the platform when I see people going, well, my content used to work and now the reach is shit. And it's like, because how our audience, which we all have to remember, there are human beings on the other side consuming your content, how we use social media has changed. It changes all the time. I can see how my habits and how I use social media has changed. And I know I won't be alone with that.
But it changes just from day to day. Like, how you react on social on a weekday is different to how you react on a Sunday afternoon.
How I am on social media now the sun's out in the UK is completely different to 2 weeks ago when it was peeing it down with rain. Like I think people just need to understand that we can't just go, okay, well, my content's working, so therefore it's going to be working forever and a day. You have to change, and you have to critique your own content and learn from it. And because everybody else is doing that, and the accounts that are doing well and progressing and moving forward and growing, and they're the ones who are adapting their content strategies and testing and aren't afraid to make mistakes and aren't afraid to try something that doesn't work, because one day they'll try something and it will really work. And I think if you don't do that, if you stay on this straight and narrow of doing what you've always been doing, you just won't move forward. It just does not work like that on social. And I think this is an opportunity for everybody to just go, okay, you know what, things haven't been working for me, what can I do differently?
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's also an education piece there that you can use for content to educate your audience as well. And one of the things you just said was like people are moaning because they're not getting any reach. And this is slightly digressing. But the thing that I see that winds me up so much is people moaning that the reach is really rubbish on Instagram. I never get any engagement. Reach and engagement are different things. People engage. The algorithm helps you get shown to people. So like you can't moan that your engagement is crap and blame it on reach, because your engagement is crap because your content's crap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but people, their theory will be because it's not being seen to people, people can't engage with it. Whereas people on flip of that,
they'll share their screenshots of their stats, and it'll be like reached 5,000 people, 2 likes. Well, I'm not getting any likes because I'm not getting any reach. Well, you've reached 5,000 people, and if only 2 of them liked it, then that is on you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on, anyway, we've totally digressed. Where were we? I do think this is a good education piece, though. You can definitely educate your audience about what all of this means for them, for you. Should they do it? Should they not do it? What are your opinions on it? What do they need to be aware of? All of the things that we've kind of spoken about in the podcast today.
And there is also that messaging that we, lots of people already harp on about in that you shouldn't. What's the phrase? You shouldn't build your house on borrowed land.
Build your house on borrowed land, yeah.
Yeah. And, we do have to remember that we have no control over. We have no control over any social media platform, and we have no control over the end user, whether they decide to open the app that day. But the only thing we can control is where we choose to build our business. And yes, obviously social media is a fantastic opportunity for many businesses, but this is all about, can you grow your own email list? Are you doing everything you can to at least grow an audience? That if you did decide, you know what, I'm not going to do this and I don't like it and I'm walking away, well, which I think would be a mistake, but if you did do that, then at least you've got an email address for your audience, or as many audience members as you can, to be able to still market and grow your business.
Yeah, and say to them, I'm not on Instagram anymore, come and find me on LinkedIn or wherever, if you just, if you're a moving platform, for sure. Definitely agree with that. I want to talk about whether, and I think I know what both of our answers will be on this. Is it better to pay for the higher level of verification or spend that money on ads? Oh, she's thinking about it. Look, far longer than I was expecting.
Well, it's still early in the morning. No, well, me, as an ads manager, I would say, even for £300, I would still, because that was my hesitation is
the amount.
Meta ads it can be very challenging when you only have small budgets. So if you're saying, should I spend £300 on Meta or should I put £300 in ads? £300 is quite difficult to get good results from. It's not impossible. Like I've got a client, one of my clients completely scaled back to like £500 a month, which is small spend, but they are irritatingly doing really, really well. So I'd still try. I think I would be trying ads before I would try Meta.
Same. Yeah, I agree. Like even if you were just boosting a really brilliant post and not running like full on ads, I think that would probably be better than this.
Because this whole featured profile thing, what control have we got over that in terms of how do we know that they're featuring our profiles to the right people?
And who are we going to be featured alongside? Is it going to be one of those like scrolly kind of carousel-y things like they have with ads? And you might be next to a brand that's your competitor, or you might be next to a brand that like totally is the opposite of all of the values.
Or someone you don't want to, someone you don't want to be associated with. Yeah, it's interesting. Whereas I think with Meta ads, you do have well, marginally
Some
more control. I personally, if someone was to say to me, or if my client was to say to me tomorrow, assuming they didn't run ads already, let's pretend, and said, do I need to pay $300 or do I need to... I would say, well, let's try and do some ads and see what we can do first.
Yeah,
but that's coming from me, who's already an ads manager.
But I agree. But I think that that's a good opportunity for people, because it could be a really good time to get to grips with ads. Because if people are thinking that this makes Instagram pay to play, which I currently don't think, but people will be thinking Instagram is now pay to play, then they are going to be looking for ways that they can pay to play. And if you're coming in and being like, look, if you want to run ads, I can run your ads, you know, to your existing clients, you can offer ads to new clients. I think it's a perfect time to start to learn ads and start to position yourself to be able to do those things. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And I'd kind of argue that you'd probably get more traffic to your site than 6 links in 6 reels.
Yeah, agree.
Like, I might be wrong on that. If you're running really crap ads, then maybe not. But yeah, it's definitely an opportunity. If you don't understand meta ads, then it probably now is a good time to really invest in that. If you've already got the Social Media Manager's Toolkit, that comes with the Ads Manager Academy, which is a full program on training you to be a fully fledged ads manager. If you don't have the Social Media Manager's Toolkit, you can go and find out more about that at thetwolauras.com/toolkit.
Yeah, we'll put that link in the show notes too. Anything else that we haven't covered yet? I feel like we've kind of dived into it all.
I think given that it's, you know, we're 24 hours into the announcement, I think we've covered all we can do at the moment. And obviously there may be more that rolls out over the coming weeks and months that we can come back to.
Yeah, agree. So, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it's been helpful. You haven't, hated the fact that it's been totally off the cuff and unedited. We will be back next time with our normal scheduled episode. But in the meantime, we would really love to hear from you. So please don't forget to leave us a review wherever you're listening, and come and let us know your thoughts on the whole Meta Verified thing, either over on Instagram or on Facebook. We'll make sure that those links are in the show notes. And yeah, we will be back with our normal episodes on Tuesday. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Toodles!